Welcome to this edition of the Desert Vision, presented by U.S. Army Central. I'm Army Sergeant Jennifer Shick.
And I'm Army Sergeant Justin Hardin.
Coming up on this edition of the Desert Vision, USARCENT hosts the 2019 Best Cyber Warrior Competition. Soldiers with the 8th Battalion, 29th Aviation Regiment, along with the 297th Military Police Company from the Alaska National Guard, participate in a joint emergency management exercise. The 1106 Aviation Group and the 638th Aviation Support Battalion conduct blade removal procedures. The 244th Combat Aviation Brigade conducts deck landing qualifications in the Arabian Gulf. The 1st Theater Sustainment Command hosts the non-commissioned officer induction ceremony, and the 34th Red Bull Infantry Division feeds Camp Arifjan.
Teams from the Kuwaiti military, the U.S. Army Central Area of Operations, and the United States met at Camp Arifjan to compete in the 2019 Best Cyber Warrior Competition. The teams engaged in mental and physical activities in order to win the title of Best Cyber Warrior.
You have been called on for your cybersecurity knowledge. Your job is to protect our website from any potential threats.
So what this event is, the 2019 Best Cyber Warrior Competition. It's an annual event. This was the 5th iteration of it. It's designed to help professionals in the cybersecurity realm across the DoD get education and awareness in cybersecurity. The one real great advantage this year was it is the first year the Kuwaiti partners participated. We had some local national Kuwait teams participate from KMOD J6, from KMOI, from Citra. We had invited them. They came on Tuesday. They enjoyed them so much they said, hey, can we participate? So by Tuesday afternoon, we had already incorporated them in, and they got second in one of the events. This is actually the first year we were able to get joint participation as well.
2 from the Army, 1 from the Navy, 1 from the...
Every year in the past, it's just been Army, and it's just been on Arifjan. But this year we were able to get joint from in theater, so it is a little bit bigger this year than it has been in the past as far as who was able to participate. Where this event is going in the future, the more teams we get, obviously the better. Joint, multinational, just continue doing this. Once a year, this kind of event, but potentially smaller engagements like this throughout the year with our host nation partners. And this just continues to allow our professionals to get better at what they do.
The Best Cyber Warrior Competition creates a culture of awareness and understanding at all echelons of cybersecurity in a fun and competitive environment.
Next, soldiers with the 8th Battalion, 229th Aviation Regiment, and the 297th Military Police Company from the Alaska National Guard participate in a joint emergency management exercise at Udairi Range.
We conducted an emergency management exercise in correlation and correspondence with the Camp Beering emergency management team. We were providing the helicopter down aircraft for the scenario at this location, sparking a base-wide execution of the primary alert and the secondary alert for all the services out here.
This training helps with the Army's overall mission as it is a joint exercise. The emergency management exercise encompasses many tenant units under Camp Beering, and also those tenant units include aviation assets, military police, radio communication, and they come together in a joint effort to prepare for base defense for Camp Beering, Kuwait.
For me personally as an aircrew member, it feels good to know that we can work together, and if case of emergency happens to a helicopter that I'm flying, I can have no worries that the services will be out here to provide assistance need be.
U.S. Army Central supports these exercises to provide theater security and cooperation through aviation, logistics, force protection, and information management capabilities.
Staff Sergeant Veronica McNabb takes us to the port of Schweba, where soldiers of the 1106th Aviation Group and the 638th Aviation Support Battalion conduct blade removal procedures on a CH-47 Chinook.
We were tasked with pulling the blades off the Chinooks, CH-47s, to prep them for shipment via cargo ship. Took a team from our TASM company that's helping us out with maintenance, and our Delta company that also helps us out with maintenance.
Today we're over here at the S-Pod. We're taking blades off, getting them ready for shipment. going back stateside. The blade process, we pretty much got to disconnect a couple lines, take out the dampener, take a couple bolts out, break the bolts, and get it adjusted and nice and smooth. The blade leveled out and smooth so where it can float smoothly. And from there, we pop out the blade pins, and then we're able to remove the blades, bring it down safely, and then load it back into the aircraft. As far as lifting the blade and getting it moved into the aircraft safely, we need about 6 personnel. Also 1 person to take charge and lead with the command. In this environment, it's hard, but given the right crew and the right training, it goes by pretty smoothly. We get a lot of cool stuff done.
Now let's check in with Sergeant Christopher Lindberg for your ARCENT Minute.
I'm Army Sergeant Christopher Lindberg. This is your U.S. ARCENT Minute. The 1st Theater Sustainment Command hosted a non-commissioned officer induction ceremony aboard the U.S. Army Logistics Support Vessel, the MG Charles P. Goss at Kuwait Naval Base.
Sergeant Garcia.
Here, Sir Major!
How many candidates are present here today and deserve to be members of the Time Honored Corps?
Sergeant Major, we have 91 NCOs.
The purpose of this ceremony is to induct the 91 highly motivated warriors into the rank of the non-commissioned officer corps. Throughout our Army history, NCOs has performed vital tasks as small unit leaders, subject matter expert, trainers, and most importantly, guardians of the Army standards and discipline.
So what we did here today was an NCO induction ceremony that celebrated the newly promoted NCOs into becoming the part of the NCO Corps, the backbone of the Army. And this is a tradition that is not celebrated very often, but when celebrated, it is a very big part of the NCO who just got promoted.
It was a great experience. Proud to be a part of the non-commissioned officer Time Honored Corps. I just hope that I can be as good of a leader as those who lived before me.
The NCO induction ceremony is a celebration of the newly promoted joining the ranks of a professional non-commissioned officer corps. The ceremony also serves to honor the memory of those men and women of the NCO Corps who have served with pride and distinction.
The 244th Aviation Brigade takes to the air and the sea to conduct deck landing qualifications in the Arabian Gulf.
So what we did today was deck landing qualifications. The objective there is just to train and qualify flight crews on landing on U.S. Navy and other ships. I think today's training was very successful and also very enlightening. Army air crews don't typically get to fly over the water, fly in coordination with U.S. Navy personnel. Some of their terminology is different from ours, so we learned a few things. We learned a few lessons about working in a joint environment. Army aviation is all about mobility on the battlefield, and working with Navy ships and qualifying crews on landing on U.S. Navy ships and working with U.S. Navy ships out in the water just gives us that third dimension of mobility. So not just ground-air mobility, but sea-air mobility as well. Makes us that much more valuable to the ground force commander or the joint force commander in whatever operations that we're conducting. So bottom line is it makes us more useful, it makes us more adaptable to whatever situation we're going to face. Just overall improving our capability.
The 244th is the first combined U.S. Army Reserve and National Guard Aviation Brigade to deploy in support of operations in the U.S. Army Central Area of Responsibility.
More than 40 volunteers with the Minnesota Twin Cities-based organization serving our troops flew halfway around the world to serve a steak dinner to not only the soldiers of the 34th Red Bull Infantry Division, but to the rest of Camp Arifjan as well.
This is the 14th project for serving our troops, and what we are doing is really one of our signature projects where we have restaurants and volunteers and businesses from all across Minnesota that are here in Kuwait to serve steaks brought all the way from St. Paul, Minnesota, and we're going to serve them for our Minnesota National Guard members here and every other soldier here at Camp Arifjan in Kuwait.
100,000. I didn't think they were going to be able to do something like this for us out here in Kuwait. They're halfway around the world serving us was amazing. We had a lot of people that were shocked, and a lot of people who aren't even 34 soldiers are here. So I know Camp Arifjan in a whole is being provided these steaks, and that's wonderful. We couldn't thank them enough.
You know, we care about the Minnesota National Guard soldiers, and what happens is people come together. Our sponsors come together, our businesses come together, the restaurants, and everybody just comes together to say thank you.
It was kind of ground shaking to think that there were 100,000 soldiers before me that received a stake that led up to that one moment. So I was very grateful. I'm still grateful. I didn't really feel like I deserved it at first, but then being here for 7 months, we earn things in different ways. So I was blessed with this opportunity to receive the 100,000 stake, and hopefully blessed with a smooth transition back home as well.
This is all about a message in the form of a 12-ounce steak that's brought all the way here from St. Paul and grilled on these grills to order for our soldiers, and having the exact same thing that happening back in St. Paul with the families. It is that dinner with the family, and truly, it is a simple thing.
Doesn't get better than this.
Serving Our Troops has been supporting military members and their families for 15 years. Now let's take a look at what the major commands of U.S. Army Central are up to. That's it for this edition of the Desert Vision. For these stories and more, check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/US Army Central.
And our YouTube channel at youtube.com/US Army Central. I'm Army Sergeant Justin Hardin.
And I'm Army Sergeant Jennifer Shick.
Always forward.